Hari Hari. This is the second story of Matsya Avatar. Matsya Avatar is the first of the 10 avatars of Vishnu. So this is part 3 of the entire story, but this is the second after the story of Matsya with the demon Hayagriva. So once upon a time, there was a king. His name was Satyavrata. He was a very pious king, very devotional, very devoted to Vishnu. And every morning he would get up. After he would get up, he would go to the river to perform his morning Gayatri. He would do his morning sadhana every day. And this particular day, he went to the river and he went up to his waist in the water of the river to engage in his morning sadhana. So he would take water from the river in his hands and he would pour the water back into the river as he would offer prayers to the Supreme, to Vishnu. So this is how he was doing his morning sadhana, his morning puja. As he was doing this, he reached down into the water to get a cup of water from the river, and when he looked at the water in his hand, he saw there was a little small baby little fish in his hand. So being a little annoyed, he poured the water and the fish back into the river. He did not want to harm the fish. He wanted the fish to go back into the river. So he let the fish go back in the river. When he did this, the fish spoke. "My dear King Satyavrata, why are you throwing me back in the river?" And Satyavrata obviously was astonished to see a fish speaking, but in these times all kinds of interesting things happen, so he spoke back to the fish. He replied. He said, "Well, my dear fish, you are a fish. You belong in the water, in the river. I'm putting you back in the river." And the fish spoke back to King Satyavrata. He said, "Don't put me back in the river. I am such a small, tiny little fish. Please protect me because all of the larger fish and snakes and other aquatic creatures are going to kill me because I'm so small. They're going to kill me and eat me. Please protect me. You're a Kshatriya king. Kshatriyas are supposed to protect. Leaders are supposed to protect. Please protect me." Satyavrata relented, of course. So he took the fish in his hands, took back to the palace, and he poured the fish with some water into a pot. He went about doing his duties. At the end of the day, he came back home, went to sleep. He woke up the next morning. And as he woke up, he was about to begin his morning sadhana, his morning puja. And he heard from the jug, the fish, calling out, "Satyavrata Maharaj, King Satyavrata, King Satyavrata, please, this pot you've put me in is too small. Can you please put me in a bigger pot?" So King Satyavrata, he looks into the pot, and sure enough, overnight, the fish grew to the size of the pot, and the fish could hardly move. So Satyavrata went, got a bigger pot, put the fish into the larger pot. As he was walking away, the fish called out, "King Satyavrata, please come back. The pot you've put me in is too small." Satyavrata, not believing, he turned around, he walked, and he looked into this new, larger pot, and sure enough, the fish had grown to the size of that pot as well. And then Satyavrata took the fish to a pool, to a lake. And finally, King Satyavrata said, "My dear fish, you have been, every time I put you into a larger body of water, you get as big as that body of water. You were the size of a pond, you're the size of a lake." And the fish said, "Well, now can you put me into something larger? Because even here is too small." So Satyavrata got the fish, I presume, and he put the fish, with a lot of help, one would imagine, to the ocean. And just as he was getting ready to walk away, the fish called out, "My dear King Satyavrata, please, can you put me in a larger body of water? Because the fish in this body of water will also eat me." And now Satyavrata realized that this was a very special fish, because now the fish was joking with him. There is no body of water bigger than the ocean. So finally King Satyavrata said, "Now you're toying with me. Now you're just making jokes. Who are you? What's going on here?" And that's when the fish revealed that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and he appeared for a particular purpose this time. Before he appeared to rescue the Vedas from the demon Hayagriva and return them to Lord Brahma, but now there's a different emergency. This emergency, Matsya tells to King Satyavrata, he says, "My dear king, in 7 days, there's going to be an enormous flood. All of the world is going to be inundated. It's going to be flooded with water. What I want you to do is I want you to gather all the various creatures, all the various plants, all the various things necessary for human life, and I want you to put them on a boat. In 7 days, I will return, and I want you to tie the boat to my horn." Matsya Avatar has a horn, a single horn. "Tie the boat to my horn, and I will take you and all that you've collected to safety until the waters recede." So King Satyavrata Muni, he did this. He had a boat arranged, and he put all of the creatures, all the necessity plants and vegetables that were necessary for human society to survive. 7 days, the water began to rise, just as Matsyavatar said, and flooded everywhere. Matsyavatar came, and King Satyavrata tied the boat to Matsyavatar's horn using a very special rope. This rope is Vasuki, a snake, a celestial snake. So tying the boat to the horn of Matsyavatar with the celestial snake, King Satyavrata and Matsyavatar took King Satyavrata throughout the flooded waters of the world. And during this time, Matsyavatar taught King Satyavrata all of the Vedic philosophies, mantras, and knowledge that they contained. So this is the story, the second story of Matsyavatar. Hari Hari.